Good morning. It's Sunday, about 10 a.m., October 6th, 2024, and I hope you enjoy my beautiful background screen in the Caribbean islands there. Fortunately, they're being spared from a hurricane right now, and I'd like to just show you a little bit what's going on with Tropical Storm Milton, which is going to become Hurricane Milton here pretty soon. And as you can see here on the bottom of the screen, boy, look at the west, look at this, the left side of the screen. You can really see what looks like a tropical system really starting to spin up there. That's Milton. And it's really starting to get going here. You can clearly see that on this satellite shot. And yeah, boy, I do not like the way that looks at all. So here's, you can clearly see where the bubbling up of thunderstorms are. That's where the center of circulation is, right in there. And it's a decently good sized tropical storm right now. The computer models are showing that it's going to basically move off in this direction towards the east for the next probably 24 to 36 hours. And see up here at the top of the screen, watch my little pencil. See how that all that cloud cover is blowing off quickly that way? That's typical for October. We have the jet stream is shifted farther south or further south. And so the upper level winds across the northern Gulf of Mexico are very strong. They're like 40 to 50 knots. And that's not very nice to hurricanes. That rips hurricanes apart, which is good for us. And that's one good thing about this is uh is that this could get torn apart. But this is the general track. It's going to come along and then start bending to the northeast like this and go up either towards the Tampa Bay area or maybe into Fort Myers, but somewhere in this area. Or it could take a track more like this and start bending up a little sooner and go up north of Tampa like that. Hopefully that's not the track it takes because that could be very, very bad news for the Tampa Bay area for storm surge. But as you can see, the storm is definitely getting organized here. If you watch my little cursor here, it's definitely spinning hard. And you can see the low level clouds here off Louisiana going west. Upper level clouds are moving east. That tells you there's wind shear up there in the northern Gulf of Mexico. Now, as you can see here, look at the eastern side of the Gulf. There's a lot of convection right there. That is another area of low pressure that was trying to form, but all the energy is being consolidated down here in the southwestern Gulf with Tropical Storm Milton. So let me exit out of the screen for a second, and I want to take a look at show you. This is a motion loop of the upper level wind patterns. And right here over the Canada, you can see this is a strong trough in the jet stream. And see how it's dipping like that? So here's the future hurricane Milton. It's going to be tracking along right here. And you can see at the end of the loop, it's right over Florida right there on about let's see, that'd be the 9th of October, which is Wednesday. So this trough of low pressure, this upper level trough in the jet stream, a piece of it's going to dip down into the Gulf, and basically, not Helene, Milton's going to be down here and be picked up to the east northeast and maybe northeast towards the Tampa Bay area. Now, let me just also take a look here at the computer model forecast. This is the H-half-A model, which is a zoomed out version of the half-A parent. And take a look right here. This is the tropical storm Milton, probably going to be a hurricane by this afternoon or early evening. So let me show you by clicking the dots here. Just watch. This is this morning. So the storm is strengthening, pressure's dropping, and it's not moving very fast to the east, maybe 5 to 10 miles an hour. So this is tomorrow morning. It's supposed to be down to 969 millibars, which that's a category 2 hurricane. It's moving east, and watch, this barometric pressure just drops big time. Look at that, drops down to 935 millibars. And look how tiny it is. This is where it's way different from Helene. This is going to initially start out as a tiny storm, which tells me it could get up to a category 5, unlike Helene, which got so big that it couldn't wrap up into a 5. But now watch. It's straddling the northern coast of the Yucatan, about 150 miles offshore, and it's moving slowly east. Now watch what happens in this area right here. It's going to start tracking to the east northeast. But then look at that, pressure's down to 925. That's a Cat 5. 930, oh my gosh, 913 millibars. That's stronger than Hurricane Michael was when it made landfall up here in the Panama City area. And look, 911 millibars. Now the wind field starts expanding is probably going to be similar to Helene. There's going to be a large tropical storm force wind field, but the hurricane force winds are going to be over a very small 30 to 40-mile wide area wherever it hits. And it looks like by Wednesday morning, early in the morning, after midnight, around 2 a.m., that's when the storm is going to peak in intensity, down to 910 millibars, according to this HAFS A model. But now watch, as it starts moving closer to the west coast of Florida, pressure starts coming up and coming up fairly rapidly, too. It goes from 916 millibars to 932, and that's Wednesday afternoon. 948, that's still a category 3 or a category 4 hurricane, though. 955, that's probably a 3 by now. 962, so shows it making landfall. And it shows it making landfall right over Pinellas County. That's very bad news. Let me look at I'll show you a close-up of that model, though. This is, okay, HAFS A. Okay, Milton. Now look, that's a more blown up version. This shows the eye making landfall around Palm Harbor. This is worst case scenario for Tampa. Look at this. The wind, these wind barbs, it shows winds coming from the west and then switching around to the north into the west southwest, coming right up into the bay. That would bring tremendous storm surge into Tampa downtown, around Apollo Beach, and then going up here into Oldsmar, over here in Pinellas County, Oldsmar over towards Town and Country, and really, really bad surge for Madeira Beach and Treasure Island and places like that. So this is the HAFS A model, and let's watch what happens as it goes inland. By the way, up here in Gainesville, that's 20 knot winds there, so that's about 30 miles an hour. And as it goes inland, pressure falls, it rises dramatically as it goes over Spring Hill, or just south of Spring Hill, over basically Hernando and Pasco County, goes across the state, goes over places like Wildwood and Leesburg. Let's see, what's the name of that town called? Is it Altamont Springs? No, no, no. Mount Dora, Eustis, places like that. It's going to get the direct hit from it. And then it quickly slips off the coast. And let me just show you here real quick. So they're predicting 25 to 30 knot winds for Gainesville. That's about, let's see, 30 to 40 miles per hour sustained, gust up to maybe 50. So yeah, there could be some big tree limbs down in Gainesville. But this model is saying that the concentration of the energy is going to stay basically the Tampa Bay area, Orlando area, going over towards Daytona Beach. So that's where the worst winds are going to be, especially in the Tampa Bay and over here, and even to Lakeland and Winter Haven, they're going to have hurricane force winds and down trees there. Now let me look at one more computer model. Let's look at the H Wharf. This one's pretty good too. Ooh, I don't like what the H Wharf is showing. Let's go back and reverse here to today, which is the 6th. So here's where we are. No, that's later today. So this is this morning, 986 millibars. Keep an eye on it. The west coast of Florida will appear on the right side of your screen. It shows it moving along and strengthening very rapidly. Here's the Yucatan Peninsula right here. And just watch what happens here. It gets down to 940, 937, 936. So the H Wharf is showing about a high-end Cat 4, 932, but it shows it's strengthening. It looks like almost right up to landfall. Well, it deepens out here about 300 miles off the coast of Florida and does weaken. This one, H Wharf, okay, this is a little bit better news from a surge perspective for Tampa, because it's showing it making a direct landfall over the Skyway Bridge. But this would actually partially push some of the water out of Tampa Bay, but this would be a horrible scenario for wind for Tampa and St. Pete. They're talking about a category 4 solid hurricane coming inland over the Tampa Bay area, winds around 130 miles an hour. Up here in Gainesville, which is about right here where I'm circling, is still showing the wind barbs around 25 knots. So it's both of these hurricane force hurricane specific forecast models are showing winds in the Gainesville area between 25 and 45 miles per hour in the gust. So yeah, it's going to get windy in Gainesville, but I think if it follows this track perfectly, Gainesville will not get vicious winds like Tampa and Orlando are going to get. Now over here, this is the H-Wharf model shows Orlando getting solid hurricane force winds, probably around 90 to 110 miles an hour, even hitting places like Melbourne and the Cape Kennedy, the Kennedy Space Center area with 100-mile-an-hour or 80-mile-an-hour winds. Jacksonville is completely spared, just gets a little breezy, except for some surge along the coast around Palm Coast down here towards Daytona Beach. And so that could be the threat on that side of Florida is surge along Jacksonville and southward. Anyway, this is looking pretty ugly for Central Florida. Someone's heading straight for Publix headquarters in Lakeland. Yeah, that cake they have, the Publix cake there in Lakeland, that might get blown right over. So we'll see what happens. This is looking pretty nasty for the Tampa area and Bradenton and Sarasota for that matter too. Lots of high winds there, surge, maybe as far south as the Venice area. Um, so yeah, not looking very pretty. It's looking like a direct hit on the Pinellas County coast. That's what I'm seeing right now. So everybody, I will be in touch at a later date, and I hope you have a good Sunday. Goodbye.